building due to repairs and renovations over at Capitol High School. So just took a minute to get us up and running over here, but I do appreciate everybody's patience. We'll go ahead and begin with our meeting. I'm David Martin, Chair of the Commission on Teacher and Administration Education, Certification, Licensure and Development Commission, present at the Woolfolk State Office Building, room 145 at 501 Northwest Street, Jackson, Mississippi, 39201. Regular meeting of the Commission being held today, Friday, July 8th, 2022, at about 10:13 a.m. pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 25415, with some Commission members present via teleconference. Notice of the meeting, which included date, time, place, and purpose of the meeting, is identified and a location made available to the public and has been posted. Audio recording is being made of the meeting, and minutes of this meeting will be recorded as well. Agenda item 1, our call to order, beginning at 10:13 a.m. on Friday, July 8, 2022. We're going to establish our quorum, and I'll call the names of Commission members. Please state the location and presence for this meeting. If you would, make sure to check your mic so that we can hear you. James Creel. Rebecca Gray. William Hamilton.
William Hamilton, Oxford, Mississippi.
Thanks, sir. Mary Hill Taylor.
Mary Hill Taylor, Woolfolk Building, Jackson, Mississippi.
John Howard.
John Howard, Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Thanks, sir. Kim Hubbard.
Kim Hubbard, Flowood, Mississippi.
Thank you. Dr. Teresa J. Rowe.
Teresa J. Rowe, Starkville, Mississippi.
Thank you. Dr. Burnell Kelly.
Burnell Kelly, Gulfport, Mississippi.
Thank you. Dr. Teresa Poole.
Teresa Poole, Hattiesburg, Mississippi.
Thank you. Dr. Shelley Simmons.
Shelley Simmons, Jackson, Mississippi.
Thank you, ma'am. Etta Taplin. Ms. Taplin. I believe we saw her online. We'll check with her. Quorum of the Commission is present at the location stated for conducting a meeting through teleconference means. Move on to agenda item number 3, approval of the minutes from the May 6, 2022 meeting of the Commission on Teacher Administration, Education, Certification, Licensure, and Development. Entertain a motion for approval. Please identify yourself for the record.
Teresa J. Rowe, motion for approval.
Thank you. Need a second?
Kim Hubbard, second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any discussion? Okay, we'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor, please unmute your mic, make sure we can hear you.
Aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move to item number 4, approval of the hearing subcommittee minutes from May 6, 2022. Subcommittee members present for May 6 were James Creel, Mary Hill Taylor, and Kim Hubbard. Entertain a motion for approval for those. Please identify yourself for the record.
Kim Hubbard.
Mary Hill
Motion.
Taylor.
Ms. Hubbard, thank you. Need a second?
Mary Hill Taylor, second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any discussion? We'll take a vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. Move on to item 5, adoption of the agenda for today. Entertain a motion for approval. Please identify yourself for the record.
Mary Hill Taylor, make a motion to adopt the agenda for today.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a second?
Teresa Poole, second.
Thank you, ma'am. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to item number 6. In the updates, Dr. Corey Murphy.
Thank you, Chairman Martin. I have just one brief update in which you just alluded to. On June, I think 27th, we vacated our normal location at Central High School building at the MDE and relocated to a few different locations, particularly the Office of Teaching and Leading. We're located on the campus of Mississippi Schools, Deaf and Blind. That's where you'll find all of the offices that make up teaching and leading. As it relates to meetings, our September meeting, September 9th, 2022, and November 4th meeting are scheduled to take place here in this room. Only the subcommittee members who will be participating on subcommittee hearings will report in person. This is the location, as stated in the correspondence that we've sent over the course of the past couple of weeks. Parking is indeed first come, first served basis. I know you guys experienced that today, and sorry, can't provide you with reserved parking. Any meetings outside of that, as it relates to subcommittee hearing meetings, pay close attention to the emails that you received from Mr. DeJong, and that he'll provide you with those locations. And so I don't think I said good morning, so good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to share today. But I also wanted to say happy birthday to Dr. Teresa J. Rowe. She joined us on her birthday today. Hand it over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. All right, moving on to item number 7. Approval to begin the Administrative Procedures Act process to revise Mississippi Annotated Code 7.4, Part 4, Licensure Guidelines K through 12 to include requirements for the issuance of Special Licensed Expert Citizen. Teacher license set forth in House Bill 1388 of the 2022 legislative session. Establish criteria for renewal of the special license and class level at which license will be issued. Dr. Corey Murphy. Anything you want to share with us on that?
Just basically, House Bill 1388 had several changes that affected the agency for the most part, but there were 2 particular areas that affected licensure. One being reciprocity, where they included, now, I guess, the issuance of a license to individuals from other countries. And so that was the only change to reciprocity. So there was nothing to bring forward to ask for, I guess, approval to establish for the most part, and that all the criteria established in law. So as it relates to the expert citizen license, as you know, before July 1 of this year, the license was issued with a 1-year validity. But in the law, they have established where it's issued now for 5 years. So it has a 5-year validity. Aside from the 5-year validity, they established criteria that states that individual has to have an industry recognized certification in the area. If the individual doesn't hold that but meet all other criteria, then the local school board has to spread across its minutes the rationale as to why they're actually hiring someone who doesn't hold that particular certification in that area. The license is now a renewable license, and so that's what we're establishing here today. And to keep in line with what we do with any other 5-year renewable license, we wanted to make certain that individuals are able to receive, the class level based on their highest level of educational attainment. And so right now, well, actually before July 1, the license was issued at the baccalaureate level only. And so the law also removes the requirement that an individual holds at minimum an associate's degree or higher to state that, the candidates can now hold, a high school diploma, as was before, 2005, when we switched to all individuals having to hold at minimum an associate's degree. And so what's before you today, in that all the other criteria has been established in law, are the statements that you see here in red, and that's as relates to the class level of the license, and also the requirements around renewing that particular license, in that we're just saying that they'll renew just as any other individual teacher would renew their license for the most part, but based on the renewal requirements for their particular CTE area. And that's all I have.
So given the industry standards and all, what you're saying is that's mainly geared towards our CTE positions?
Yes, sir. This will be only issued to individuals serving in a CTE area, and so not areas like biology or elementary education for the most part. It remains a local district requested license, so nothing changed in the process for actually requesting the license. The only changes are those that are outlined there as relates to what I was just mentioning.
Yes, sir. All right, appreciate it. All right, this time we'll entertain a motion for approval, a motion to take under advisement. Please identify yourself for the record.
John Howard, motion to approve.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
William Hamilton, second.
So that is a motion to approve. Any discussion? All right, this time we'll take a vote. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 8, approval to begin the Administrative Procedures Act process to revive Mississippi State Board of Education Policy Chapter 14, Rule 1410, to add deans of education preparatory providers, EPPs, to the list of required mandatory reporters for infractions delineated under Mississippi Code annotated 3732. Dr. Burson and Mr. DeYoung, our presenters.
Good morning, Chairman Martin, Dr. Murphy, commission members. We're bringing before you today this request to begin the Administrative Procedures Act to add a pathway for our educator prep providers, our deans of education, a systematic process for reporting violations to code that we have in place in this policy already for superintendents as well as community colleges. I receive from the Division of Educator Preparation occasionally, and Mr. DeYoung will speak to this, over the past 5 years, we've had several EPPs elevate concerns with student violations. We call those candidates in the EPPs that may violate. We have our pre-service license now so that we have them in the licensure system so we can monitor this, but we needed this pathway for our deans to be able to report this, as well as there is a rare occasion in which a student teacher may come back to the university with a concern about a practicing educator, and we wanted to allow a pathway for that to be reported as well. So I'll turn it over now to Mr. DeYoung, and he can share anything that he needs to share. We collaborated on the language in this to add that. It has been also vetted through legal.
Thank you, Dr. Burson. And good morning, commission members, Mr. Chairman, Dr. Murphy. The Office of Educator Misconduct regularly receives Appendix C reporting forms from local school districts. It's readily known to superintendents that this form is required by Mississippi State Board of Education rule when there is an allegation or incident of educator misconduct. However, until this proposal led by Dr. Burson, there's been no requirement for education preparation providers to report allegations or incidents of misconduct by pre-service teacher candidates. Since I've been in the office a little over a year, we've received a few, maybe 5, 6 inquiries into the process for reporting these allegations of misconduct by these pre-service educators. And thanks to Dr. Burson's efforts, we're now able to implement a reporting requirement so that there will be a tracking ability for those pre-service candidates. The measure is passed. The reporting requirements will be the same for colleges and universities, of Education programs as it is for the local school districts. So the 10-day reporting requirement at the initial allegation will come to my office and we will review and determine if further information is needed to proceed forward with the case. And Dr. Burson and I have also been in discussion as to how to best present this information to the institutes of higher learning, the deans, so that they will be prepared to know the procedure. They will know the procedure for reporting and the requirements as set forth in the rule if passed. So now, when we receive an allegation or a report of misconduct, we will flag the case and review it. If it is something that the district disposes of based on lack of evidence, et cetera, then we will close it as sufficient education agency, local education agency response. In those matters where there's some question, we will send it to a review committee. They will review all of the information, the evidence, and determine if it should move forward to the commission. And speaking to that, Dr. Burson and I discussed some languages that is included in the proposal now. I'll just pull it up here. Okay. So on section 2, part D, the language as it is written now states that a disciplinary hearing will be scheduled before the certification commission to determine if the license of the educator should be revoked, suspended, or receive some other disciplinary action. So we propose that this language be changed from will to may, based on the fact that the Office of Educator Misconduct Evaluations has the authority to dispose of cases according to the rules of procedure for disciplinary hearings based on either insufficient evidence, proper district response, et cetera. So that was just the only thing that I would recommend we consider going forward so that there will be no misunderstanding as to how the procedure works once we receive the report. It will not necessarily go to hearing. That will be a determination that's made within my office. And of course, in collaboration with Dr. Burson and other leaders who, are more familiar with the universities and education preparation programs and such. And with that, I'll be glad to take any questions if anyone has any.
I think that'd be a smart change. It'd put you in line with what we're doing everywhere else,
That's correct.
not mandated.
And we just wanted to get that before, if it's approved to go out for APA, we just wanted to change that one word to May before we send it out to APA upon your approval.
That's right. I think that'd be wise. Any questions, comments on those? All right, this time we'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion to take under advisement. Please identify yourself for the record.
Mary Jo Taylor, I make a motion that we approve.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a second?
Teresa J. Rose, second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further discussion? All right, this time we'll take a vote. All those in favor, vote aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 9, discussion and approval and/or approval of proposed educator preparedness program that would lead to the supplemental endorsement in the area of teacher leadership. I know this one we've been discussing. Dr. Burson, Dr. Smith, Dr. Pinnell, and Dr. Ming are all listed on here. I don't know who's going to take the lead on that.
I'll start us off. And as you recall at our May meeting, this was an item for discussion at that time. And we had some very favorable, I think, responses and comments about this professional development that the RCU is wanting to bring forth to lead to an endorsement in teacher leadership. This is 100 hours of professional development, and you all had a couple of concerns about how this would be elevated for candidates, which candidates would actually be able to participate and earn this endorsement. As I shared with you in May, we have 2 universities that offer endorsements through course credit and also degree. And so we want to ensure that we maintain the integrity of the endorsement to ensure that those who do earn a teacher leader endorsement meet certain criteria. And within that first proposal that was submitted, there were no parameters set. And just to refresh your memory, I believe you all discussed that we would want to set some minimum years of experience one would have to have in order to participate in this PD, as well as years of experience. However, at this time, I will turn over to one of my colleagues from the RCU. I don't know who would want to take the lead, but if you will unmute yourself and maybe introduce yourself and share a little bit about the endorsement. And of course, our commissioners, the request was to have you here so that we could have a more in-depth and rich conversation about the offering. Thank you.
I'm Myra Panel from the RCU, so thank you again for entertaining this request, and we just appreciate it. I have Cindy Ming with me as well, and Betsy is on with us as well. So thank you. I was asked to create a presentation. I don't know what my sharing capabilities would be, but I'll just talk through it if that's what you want me to do. Is that okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so a little bit of background. The MDE requested this, and back in 2015 when we were really getting into innovative work. So they requested that we design a coaching program for instructional coaches. And it is about the time nationally when they were figuring out that they needed a layer of support between administration and teachers as responsibilities were just shifting. And so this program was developed and modeled after one from another state that we were partnered with. And over time, it has just become something that we're really, really proud of. It is 100 hours of face-to-face, on-site visits, and virtual support. And so it takes a year to participate in all of that. But I'll just talk through some of what you all had requested on the application as I move forward. So we have had cohorts since 2016. We're about to have our 7th cohort come through this summer. And it just provides what we call a cohesive foundation for instructional coaching and teacher leadership. So many people that have come through it and who have led people in their buildings who have come through it have been appreciative of the roles that they learn. And it says they even let us know that it helps them write descriptions and really know how to use the people in their building best. So we were proud of that. And one of the things that you asked was that we establish the need. So in that part, I just talked about how professional development is often outsourced to, vendors or other people outside of the school building. But having instructional coaches and lead teachers in the building helps you to grow your professional staff, within your own building. So this is a really attractive piece for maybe your really great teachers who know that they want to move up, but maybe they don't want to be a principal. This is a layer of leadership in between there that these teachers can fill a void and really support the teachers there. So this need is now recognized. Of course, I'm sure you all know that. And then, of course, at ESSA, the federal government recognizes that need, encourages incentivizing these roles in school buildings. So in our initial research, this layer of support was kind of inadequately, or at least, just it was all over the place as it was defined. The people were used as part of leadership teams. They were considered administrators, some were not. So what we've tried to do in just our role in this, trying to grow it in Mississippi, is to define it a little bit better. And like I said, the roles that these people could or should be able to do once they leave a training program. And that we endorse that these teacher leaders are not figures of authority, but are more partnership, a partnership piece for the teachers that they assist. We also, in our application, reference a couple of research studies. One talks about the teacher efficacy that increases when people participate in these programs. We can see that anecdotally and as part of a research study that we're doing ourselves as well. They do seem to gain more confidence in their roles as teachers and as coaches. And then as we continue to follow them, they are maintaining or getting coaching leadership roles. Sometimes now they're principals, but they are continuing to have, upward mobility after having been a part of this program. And then we also, some studies have seen, which is kind of important here too, is like, well, if we're doing it for the teachers, that's great, but what about the students? And there are studies that show that there is significant impact on student achievement in schools that have coaches. So that was very encouraging to find that as well. And so we're just excited. Like, we were excited when we saw that the state was giving teacher leadership endorsements for these degree programs. I'm excited about the possibility of this being a supplemental endorsement that's awarded to people as well. For the requirements that you asked about, we have never had any brand new teachers come through, and if we did, we would probably discuss with their leaders that it's maybe not time. Most of the people that come through are either already coaches or they anticipate to be one, and they have several years behind them. Like I said, they're ready to level up and do something new and different to support those teachers in their building. It does require the 100 hours that I mentioned, but no other conditions at this time are in place to participate in the professional learning. I did include the program of study and syllabus and in the packet, so I'm sure that you've had an opportunity to see that. But I did want to talk about the 5 outcomes that that we designed the training around and what these people, these teachers are able to do when they leave. And that is they have a better grasp of how to hold whole staff professional development. So identify the needs that are available in the classrooms and provide whole staff PD in an effective manner. We focus on co-planning, modeling, and co-teaching so that all of those areas, the coaches are prepared to do that. One of the big things is we support an instructional rounds model, and that is when those are the observations. That's the teacher telling them what they would like the coach to look for and help with. The coach gathers the data, and then we teach a very structured questioning and reflective process on how to look at that data and make instructional changes because of it. Analyzing classroom data. Not just standardized tests or formative and summative assessments, but the data that I just mentioned as well, using all evidence to make informed instructional decisions. And then finally, because they are in that layer between teacher and principal, we even discuss how to appropriately partner with the principals to make sure that the needs of the building and the goals of the principal are being met through the role of the instructional coach. And those are the things that I said that people have been really thankful for, because number one, it really helps define the position within the building, but it also helps write, they said it helps them write job descriptions, and they know how to really use that support layer as best that they can. In our development and revision, we have aligned to many national standards, and those are included in the application as well. The PSEL standards, teacher leader model standards, national boards, learning forward, and our teacher growth rubric, as well as the administrator growth rubric. So portions of all of that in the application, you can see how our program aligns to that. The faculty, I guess the instructors of record, Cindy and I are the ones who I guess are the main ones. The other people who have assisted in that training have all been through Coach University, so they're and have probably served as a coach in the past. So either for the state through us or in a district already. So they would be supplemental, I guess, faculty, but we are the instructors of record. The other things that I've included here, I just gave some examples of what other states were doing around this. And I know that you have seen it's kind of all over the place. So some have legislation that passed where 12 hours at a university could be chosen, and that would work to be given, to folks with bachelor's degrees. California is a little bit closer to us because they have a kind of a year-long program, kind of like us. I have Georgia and Pennsylvania highlighted here. They're all, like I said, all over the place. There was some impetus to have the endorsement, and the way they go about it is a little bit different. I do appreciate that Mississippi has set some parameters and, really high standards for what this could look like in schools. So I appreciate that. And I do think that we would still be kind of on the front end of tackling this in the nation. From my research, it's gaining ground, but I still think we're kind of at the beginning of that as far as the nation goes. So just our ask is that the completers of this program be awarded the 481 endorsement, the 481 teacher leadership endorsement. And then in addition to that, we would ask that it be awarded retroactively, because like I said, we've had 6 cohorts come through. We keep very detailed records of completers. So if it was taken, if you all decided that this is something that could be approved, we would like to offer it to the people who have already come through as well. And we would take any questions at this time.
Thank you so much for sharing. And I'm glad that you elevated the other states that you mentioned, because first of all, let me just say, I know that this is really good PD. Word on the street is it's awesome. So we do appreciate that. And what you have provided for us and we have reviewed is awesome. Again, the position of the Division of Educator Preparation is that we ensure the integrity of the license of the 481. And of those states that you mentioned, I believe most of their requirements are a little higher than the 100 hours. If you take the 100 hours, that would be equivalent to 2 courses. And so our existing teacher leader endorsements are 4 to 5 courses. So this is about half. And as the commission members recommended last time when we met in May, we would want to set those parameters around those teachers having to have at least 3 years of experience and hold a master's degree already. However, there may be another option there in that you all may consider, or an EPP that has this endorsement may want to consider counting possibly 2 course credits for taking the RCU's teacher leader PD, that 100 hours, but that would be an institutional decision. And I will turn it over to the commissioners for their questions. Any clarification, any more thoughts on moving forward with this recommendation of 100 hours of PD to lead to the 481?
How big have your cohorts been so far? How many people have gone through it?
Well, we keep them small because we do go on site visits at least, between 2 and 4 times, depending on the hours and the way their schedules work out. But we keep them at around 15. We've gotten up to 20 a few times just because the demand is very high. But for us to be able to do all of the things that the other things we do and provide quality support for them, we keep it between 15 and 20. We have offered 2 cohorts in a year, which is it's starting to press on us, but like I said, the demand is pretty high.
With the retroactive ask, and I know we were talking about possibly having the masters as a qualification, would all those meet those qualifications for those first 6 cohorts? Do they all have a master's already? And that may be something you have to look up.
So you don't have to have a master's to participate. If the commission decided that the master's would be needed, we would be able, they would have to apply, obviously. And if they had the Coach U certificate and a master's, then my ask would be that they would be awarded. And then I guess also a third ask would be if that was decided that they needed a master's, if they come through our program with a bachelor's and then they use Coach University maybe as 2 courses in their master's program, could they then earn their master's and have the Coach U that they went through before and be awarded as well?
And on our end, so that would be something that we would not see. So, and when you make a recommendation to the Division of Licensure, it would be for your candidates that completed, they had at least 3 years of successful teaching experience and had a AA existing renewable licensure. And so if you take folks without the AA, then whether or not they go on to one of our institutions and matriculate through a teacher leader program there, that would not be something that we would see on our end. Those folks would then be recommended by the EPT where they completed the teacher leader program.
Sure.
It did. That's part of the reason I asked to clarify on that on the masters.
The other point I have,
So everybody can hear.
My question was, and this may apply, it may not, but there might be teachers in our state who have successful teaching experience, maybe 5 years or more, and they're national board certified, but maybe they don't have that master's degree. So would that also be a situation where they can apply for this cohort and be accepted in that kind of situation? So I'm just kind of throwing that out there. That might be, something that comes up. Something to think about.
Well, I think they're good with the cohort. I think that would come down to what we decide on the license.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. What do you want this professional development to lead to?
Yeah.
The National Bar Board would fall under whether we decide to allow that with that license. All right. Anything else?
I have a question about the retroactive as well. You mentioned there were 6 cohorts. So how far back is that? Is that one every year, 6 years back? How?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
2016 was the first cohort, but like I said, there have been a couple of years when we've had 2. So it could be more than just like 15 times 6 people, I guess.
Okay.
And Dr. Poole, this is Corey Murphy. The department would establish a certain time frame at which the individuals would have to apply. And so it wouldn't just be open, indefinitely for the most part. So if with any kind of transition to a new program or a new test score, for the most part, we usually provide a certain time frame for individuals to apply. And after that point, everybody meets the requirements in effect on the day we receive the completed application.
Okay. Okay.
With that, I know we've talked about making the masters a requirement, but I'd be kind of interested in the data on the first 6 groups. So I know it's not just exactly 6, 5, 15, but there's 60 to 80 folks that have done it. How many of those had a master's? How were they successful? Just maybe because maybe that would help us decide whether that needs to be a requirement or not.
Yeah. And just as with any other policy, I mean, no policy is final. In 2017, you saw where we brought, those that were here, within the same year, the same policy as we learned. And so this is just a starting point, and there's no perfect policy. And where there's room for adjustments after we actually take a look at those data, we'll definitely bring it back for your consideration to adjust.
Good deal. Anything further? Good discussion. Appreciate it. Thank you for the information. All right, entertain a motion for approval. Motion taken under advisement. Please identify yourself for the record. Don't forget to unmute.
I would like to, Teresa J. Rowe, I'd like to make a motion for advisement. Do we want to find out how many masters and answer some of those questions and get some additional information?
I'm sorry, Dr. J. Rowe, I neglected to ask that you recuse yourself. And so in that, you can't make the motion. If you leave the call for us, for the most part, given that this is your institution, it's part of your institution, and Dr. Burson will reach out to you to let
Okay.
you know when it's okay for you to rejoin.
Thank
My
you.
apologies.
This is Etta Taplin. I'd like to make the motion that we would accept the policy that's been presented to us.
So have a motion for approval, ma'am?
Just wanted clarity on exactly what will the parameters be. You all mentioned national board. Is that going to be a requirement?
Yeah, so right now they're voting on what's written.
Okay.
And so those are the parameters. And so they want to take it under advisement. Well, I'm speaking for you now. That's something that they would have to motion to do. But right now, what we're presenting is as written. But for any changes, you guys would, vote to table it, and we, make those adjustments that you want us to make, and we can bring it back in September. So that's totally up to you guys.
Dr. Martin, can you hear me? David?
Yes, ma'am. Somebody came in clear. Yes, ma'am.
This is Etta Taplin. I missed the roll call, but I would like to make the motion to take it under advisement until we get the other information.
Okay.
Mary Hill Taylor, second.
Second.
All right, we have a first, we have a second. Any further discussion? So just to clarify that it's taking it under advisement, we'll gather a little bit more information, so it'll be brought back before us again. All right, all those in favor, please vote aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 10, discussion and approval to begin the Administrative Procedures Act process to provide Mississippi Animated Code 7.4, Part 4, licensure guidance K-12 to include a resident teacher license for resident teachers once unconditionally admitted to a State Board of Education approved Mississippi Teacher Residency Program. Dr. Van Cleve.
Good morning, Chairman Martin. Good morning, Dr. Murphy, and members of the commission. If you all will just allow me one moment to go ahead, we're going to hope that technology works with us today because there's a brief bit of information to go along with this item. Look at that, technology worked today. Very exciting. So with that, yes, indeed, the item before you today, in collaboration with the Division of Educator Licensure, is a request to begin the Administrative Procedures Act process to revise the licensure guidelines K-12 to include a resident teacher license for resident teachers once unconditionally admitted to a State Board of Education approved Mississippi Teacher Residency Program. And so one of the things they always think is important when we consider where we're going is also to consider where we've been. And as many of you all have joined us at various points along our journey with the Mississippi Teacher Residency, we thought it might be wise to provide a brief overview of the program and or review of some of the data that we are indeed tracking with it and how it will relate to this particular license. So as you know, within the Mississippi Department of Education, it is our goal to create a world-class educational system. Within that, which this is a part of, is by providing leadership through the development of policy and accountability systems. As our State Board of Education has established, this particular item does go along with Goal 4. Every school has effective teachers and leaders. So one thing that you'll continue to hear as we're moving through this item is that resonating word of effective. That is a key part of the Mississippi Teacher Residency and a goal that we've always designed this program around. So in terms of the proposed resident teacher context, that element of where we've been, The brief review of the Mississippi Teacher Residency is that the W.K. Kellogg Foundation granted the Mississippi Department of Education over $4.1 million in 2018 to establish the nation's first state-led teacher residency. So this is indeed a cutting-edge effort on the part of MDE. Within that, the Mississippi Teacher Residency, or MTR, is a statewide effort to increase educator diversity and effectiveness through extended high-quality clinical practice with the guidance of an effective mentor teacher. The program is now supporting its third cohort in partnership with Delta State University, Mississippi State University, and William Carey University, and the Gulfport, Jackson Public, Ocean Springs, and Sunflower County school districts. Based on the success of some of the data that I'm about to share with you all, the MDE awarded $9.8 million in grants to expand the MTR at Delta State, Jackson State, Mississippi State, the University of Southern Mississippi, and William Carey. That was done through ESSER funding in a response to ensure that those children who've been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19 did indeed continue to have access to effective teachers. So in terms of some of the high levels of what we are looking at with the program when we are determining its effectiveness, as I shared, two key components with the program. One is increasing educator diversity. Two is increasing educator effectiveness. Within that, we are indeed continuing to be pleased with the overall cohort diversity of the Mississippi Teacher Residency. Our three cohorts together average, our candidates did identify 70% as a person of color. When you look at that compared to the national scale of an overwhelming average of about 20% nationwide, the program is indeed continuing to show promise on that front. In terms of educator effectiveness, another element of this program is the promise of increased clinical hours. The number of hours that teacher candidates are in front of students, engaging in small group, large group instruction prior to assuming classroom responsibilities in the goal of becoming increasingly day one ready. So our current baseline for traditional educator preparation is the recommended 480 hours over a 12-week period. As we continue to track Mississippi Teacher Residency candidate timesheets, so that's enjoyable exercise, we are continuing to see that our candidates on average are engaging in 961 clinical hours. So they are indeed in a place of increased day one readiness by some of our counts and also by their own estimation. One piece that we really hold high in regard is the perspective of mentor teachers, those individuals who are working with their candidates on a daily basis in classrooms in our schools and districts. And on our most recent round of mentor surveys, 87% did agree of mentors that their residents were indeed prepared to serve as the teacher of record. Within that, we also want to make sure that that is indeed aligning with the candidates' perspectives of their own readiness. And so one of the things that we're very proud to see is our 80% graduation rate for cohort one, and that their perceptions are largely aligning with the perceptions of their mentor teachers. A particular area for us to look at for, if we're considering early career educators, is that learning environment component. That's the area that we typically think of as classroom management. And so we're seeing a strong level of alignment between preparation, between what the mentors are seeing and what residents are seeing in themselves in terms of facilitating a positive classroom learning environment, which, as we have heard and continue to hear, that's something that early career educators can sometimes face challenges and struggles with, is in that learning environment or classroom management area. So with that context, we then move into the purpose of the resident teacher license. The purpose is threefold. First, as we have continued to promise our State Board of Education, in addition to this commission, it is to continue to target Mississippi educator workforce barriers through innovative pathways that offer locally and personally relevant on-ramps into the teaching profession. Second goal is to define the components of residency as a rigorous, grow your own pathway for increasing Mississippi teacher effectiveness and diversity, with the third component, which is to respond to ongoing programmatic feedback from MTR University partners, district participants, mentors, and residents. So within that, the key components of this program, which you will then see is reflected in the item before you is that the Mississippi Teacher Residency is focused on university partnerships with an eligible geographical critical shortage area designated district that shares the same vision of effective teaching and practice. We are also strategically recruiting diverse participants, such as people of color, men, veterans of the armed forces, and teacher assistants, through a year-long clinical pre-service training alongside an experienced, effective mentor teacher with integrated coursework resulting in certification and a master's degree. Again, this program is indeed fully funded by the MDE. We also provide targeted testing support for residents and professional development for mentors. And then, again, this element of a strategic graduate elementary and special education placement in geographical critical shortage areas, and the commitment then to continue teaching as well. That is indeed a strategic commitment, because what we know is we have geographic shortages in Mississippi. We also have subject area shortages in Mississippi. Two of the big hitters are elementary and special education. So as you can hopefully see, we do indeed engage in ongoing assessments of program effectiveness. One of that is the feedback that we receive. And so we've received feedback from our MTR participants directly on three core challenges. One is this challenge of mentor access. Knowing that access to a mentor teacher, an effective mentor teacher, is critical to the resident's success, yet we at this point did not currently define effective mentor selection criteria. And what we've heard a lot too from even residents is that sometimes their instructional schedules may or may not align to give them the time that they need to actually meet. Another challenge that we've heard from universities is the specialty area test. And so with that, MTR partners were indeed required to submit a testing preparation plan as a part of the statewide request for proposal process, yet current graduate pathways require passing scores on a specialty area test for program entry. So there's a bit of a kind of a cart before the horse situation here. And then the final challenge that we've encountered with across the state and for districts is even this notion of resident retention. As we said, MTR is intended to be a GYO strategy to address educator shortages, so the residents do receive that full tuition in exchange for their ongoing teaching commitment, yet districts currently have little recourse if the graduates do indeed leave. So with that, I won't go into all of the elements of the license because it is indeed in your item materials, but the three core components that we're looking to address with this license align with those challenges in that we are looking to align mentor selection criteria to the state's definition of educator effectiveness, which is a PGS rating of 3.0 or higher, throughout a one-year residency in either a teaching position or a teaching assistant position, if the mentor does indeed serve as the teacher of record in that classroom. In terms of the university challenge around the specialty area test, we are clarifying the required completion of the applicable specialty area test prior to institutional recommendation for a standard 5-year license. And then with the final component of resident retention, we are specifying completion of a 2-year teaching commitment pending successful program completion prior to the district's recommendation for a standard 5-year license. So again, to give districts more of that recourse there in terms of the commitment in exchange for that full tuition that the program does indeed provide. And so with that, we will move towards any questions or comments.
Just a reminder, Dr. J. Rowe and Dr. Poole, you need to recuse yourself from this since it involves your institutions. Dr. Burson will let you know the updates we have. All right, any questions? I think those are some good changes. I like what it is. I like the idea of the program, and hopefully it's successful.
Thank you very much. It's been a joy to work with.
Okay. All right, this time we'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion taken under advisement. Please identify yourself for the record.
John Howard, motion to approve.
Thanks, sir. Need a second?
Cam Hubbard, second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further discussion? All those in favor, vote aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to item number 11 on our agenda, approval of ratifications or agreed upon orders for voluntary surrenders. Mr. Scott DeYoung.
Good morning again. For the record, my name is Scott DeYoung. I'm the Director of the Office of Educator Misconduct Evaluations, and I have 13 agreed orders to present today, so please bear with me.
Yes, sir.
In the matter of Mississippi Educator License Number 186753, Joseph Furge, whereas on or about December 15, 2016, the Office of Educator Misconduct of the Mississippi Department of Education received an Appendix C report submitted by the Coahoma County School District that alleged the respondent, Joseph Furge, violated Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, resulting in the termination of employment. Whereas violation of Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct is grounds for discipline of a Mississippi Educator license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373212F. Termination from employment is grounds for discipline of a Mississippi Educator's license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373213A. And whereas the respondent, Joseph Furge, has consented to enter into an agreed order placing the respondent's educator license on probation without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the commission. The respondent admits violating Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct during the 2016-2017 school year. Said violation resulted in the respondent's termination from his employment with the Coahoma County School District. Upon execution of this agreed order, Educator License Number 186753 to teach in the state of Mississippi, and all privileges belonging to said license shall immediately be placed on probation for 3 calendar years from the date of ratification by the Commission of Teacher and Administrator Education Certification and Licensure Development. It's further agreed the respondent shall, at his own expense, complete a seminar or coursework equivalent to 3 course hours related to ethics in the classroom from a reputable source satisfactory to the Commission, and complete a seminar of coursework equivalent to 3 hours related to anger management from a reputable source satisfactory to the Commission prior to the conclusion of the probationary period stated prior. Respondent shall submit proof of attendance and successful completion of the courses of study to the Office of Educator Misconduct. Probationary period shall remain in effect for 3 calendar years. Any allegations or violations of state or federal law and or Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, or failure to complete a requirement of the probation due to the probationary period, shall automatically result in the immediate suspension of the respondent's educator license for a period of 1 year. If the respondent's license is suspended due to failure to comply with the above conditions, respondent may petition for reinstatement of his license in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 373214A and the rules of procedure governing disciplinary proceedings of the Commission. The Commission, in its discretion, may reinstate the respondent's educator license only by a majority of all members of the Commission present at the meeting call for that purpose upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation. The matter of Educator License Number 172848, Paul Anthony Barnes, whereas on or about December 9th, 2021, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C report submitted by the Long Beach Municipal School District that alleged the respondent, Paul Anthony Barnes, violated Standards 4 and 1 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. And whereas a violation of Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct is grounds for disciplinary measures of Mississippi Educator license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373212F. And whereas respondent was not suspended or terminated for violation of Standard 1, therefore, there are no grounds for discipline of the Mississippi Educator's license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373213A. Whereas the respondent Paul Anthony Barnes has considered to enter into an agreed order placing his educator's license on probation without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the commission. The respondent does not admit to violating any standard of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standard of Conduct, but has accepted this agreed order and a desire to conclude this matter. Upon execution of the agreed order, his license to teach in the state of Mississippi and all privileges belonging to said license shall immediately be placed on probation for 1 calendar year from the date of ratification by the Commission of Teacher and Administrator Education Certification and Licensure and Development. It's further agreed the respondent shall, at his own expense, complete a seminar or coursework related to ethics in the classroom from a reputable source satisfactory to the Commission prior to the conclusion of the probationary period stated prior. The respondent shall submit proof of attendance and successful completion of the course of study to the Office of Educator Misconduct. Probationary period shall remain in effect for 1 calendar year, and any allegations or violations of state or federal law or the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standard of Conduct, or failure to complete a requirement of the probation during the probationary period shall automatically result in immediate suspension of his educator's license number 172848 for a period of 1 year. The respondent's license is suspended due to failure to comply with the above conditions of probation. The respondent may petition for reinstatement of his license following the conclusion of the suspension period. Such reinstatement petition shall be in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 373214A and the rules of procedure governing disciplinary proceedings of the Commission. The Commission, in its discretion, may reinstate the respondent's educator license only by a majority of all members of the Commission present at the meeting called for that purpose upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License number 297689, whereas on or about November 17, 2021, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C submitted by the Jackson Public School District that alleged the respondent violated Standard 10 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, Mississippi Code annotated 37957. And whereas the respondent, Allison Heimer, Educator License number 297689, has consented to enter into an agreed order relinquishing the respondent's educator license without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the Commission. The respondent, Allison Heimer, admits violating Mississippi Code annotated 37957 and Standard 10 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct by resigning or otherwise breaching her contract and or abandoning her position as a licensed employee with the Jackson Public School District without first being released from her contract, and that such action constitutes grounds for suspension of a teacher or administrator license. That upon execution of this agreed order, the respondent shall immediately be deemed to have relinquished or otherwise surrendered her educator license number 297689 and all privileges belonging to said license. Said license must be attached to this agreed order when submitted to the Commission, if in the respondent's possession. The respondent acknowledges that this agreed order shall have the same effect as a suspension of the respondent's license. The respondent's license shall be relinquished, suspended, or otherwise surrendered from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. The respondent shall be eligible for reinstatement upon conclusion of the suspension period and must petition for reinstatement of respondent's educator license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373214A without the necessity of a hearing. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License number 223435, Lee Crump, on or about September 23rd, 2020, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C report submitted by the Biloxi Public School District that alleged the respondent, Lee Crump, violated Standard 6 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, resulting in termination of employment. And whereas termination from employment is grounds for discipline of a Mississippi Educator license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373213A. Whereas the respondent, Lee Crump, has consented to enter into an agreed order placing his license on probation without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the Commission. Respondent admits violating Standard 6 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct during the 2020-2021 school year. Said violation resulting in his termination from the Biloxi Public School District. Upon execution of this agreed order, his license to teach in the state of Mississippi and all privileges belonging shall immediately be placed on probation for 2 calendar years from the date of ratification by the Commission of Teacher and Administrator Education, Certification, and Licensure Development. It's further agreed that during the first year of the probationary period, the respondent shall enroll in a program designed to counsel and or treat individuals suffering from addiction to chemical substances and shall submit proof of attendance and participation in such rehabilitative efforts to the Office of Educator Misconduct. The probationary period shall remain in effect for 2 calendar years. Any allegations or violations of state and or federal law and or the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct or failure to complete a requirement of the probation during the probationary period shall automatically result in the immediate suspension of license number 223435 for a period of 1 year. If the respondent's license is suspended due to failure to comply, the respondent may petition for reinstatement of his license following conclusion of the suspension period. Such reinstatement petition shall be in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 373214A and the rules of procedure governing disciplinary proceedings of the Commission. The Commission, in its discretion, may reinstate the respondent's educator license only by a majority of all members of the Commission present at the meeting called for that purpose upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License number 316987, Carly Saxton, on or about March 25th, 2022, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C submitted by the Mississippi School for the Deaf that alleged the respondent, Carly Saxton, had committed a violation of Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, and that such action is grounds for suspension or revocation of her educator's license in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 373212F. And whereas the respondent, Carly Saxton, has consented to enter an agreed order revoking her license without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the Commission. The respondent admits that during the 2021-2022 school year, while employed as an educator with the Mississippi Schools for the Deaf, the respondent violated Standard 4, including but not limited to Standard 4.2A, by committing any act of cruelty to children or any act of child endangerment. Upon execution of this agreed order, the respondent's license to teach in the state of Mississippi and all privileges shall be immediately revoked for a period of 1 calendar year from the date of acceptance by the Commission. It's further agreed that the respondent shall complete a seminar or coursework equivalent to no less than 3 hours related to proper and ethical classroom management from a reputable source satisfactory to the Commission prior to the conclusion of the revocation period stated prior. The respondent shall submit proof of attendance and successful completion of the course of study to the Office of Educator Misconduct prior to or contemporaneous with any petition for reinstatement. The respondent may petition for reinstatement of respondent's educator license following conclusion of the revocation period if eligible. The Commission, in its discretion, may reinstate the educator's license only by a majority of all members of the Commission present at the meeting called for that purpose, and upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License number 180308, on or about May 20th, 2022, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C submitted by the Prentiss County School District that alleged the respondent, Lori Johnson, violated Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, and that a violation of Standard 4 of the Mississippi Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct is grounds for discipline of her educator license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373212E. Is grounds for discipline of a Mississippi educator's license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373213A, and whereas the respondent, Lori Johnson, has consented to enter into an agreed order placing the respondent's license on probation without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the commission. The respondent admits violating Standard 4 during the 2021-2022 school year, and the violation resulted in her termination from employment with the Prentiss County School District. Upon execution of this agreed order, her license to teach in the state of Mississippi and all privileges shall immediately be placed on probation for 1 calendar year from the date of ratification by the Commission of Teacher and Administrator Education Certification and Licensure and Development. It's further agreed the respondent shall, at her own expense, complete a seminar or coursework related to ethics in the classroom from a reputable source satisfactory to the Commission, such as an accredited university or school board association, prior to the conclusion of the probationary period stated prior. The respondent shall submit proof of attendance and successful completion of the course of study to the Office of Educator Misconduct. The probationary period shall remain in effect for 1 calendar year, and any allegations or violations of state and or federal law and or the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics Standard of Conduct or failure to complete a requirement of the probation during the probationary period shall automatically result in the immediate suspension of educator license number 180308 for a period of 1 year. The respondent's license is suspended due to failure to comply with the above conditions of the probation. The respondent may petition for reinstatement of the respondent's educator license following the conclusion of the suspension period. Such reinstatement petition shall be in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 373214A and the rules of procedure governing disciplinary proceedings of the Commission. The Commission, in its discretion, may reinstate the respondent's educator license only by a majority of all members of the Commission present at the meeting called for that purpose upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation. The matter of Mississippi Educator License Number 330250, Jamie Claire Smith, on or about February 24th, 2022. The Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C that alleged the respondent violated Standard 10 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. Whereas the respondent has consented to enter an agreed order relinquishing the respondent's license without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the Commission. The respondent is violating Mississippi Code annotated 37957 and Standard 10 by resigning or otherwise breaching her contract and or abandoning her position as a licensed employee with the Cleveland Public School District without first being released from her contract, and such action constitutes grounds for suspension of a license pursuant to Code 373212A. That upon execution of the agreed order, the respondent shall immediately be deemed to have relinquished or surrendered her educator license to teach in the state of Mississippi and all privileges belonging to said license. That said license must be attached to the agreed order when submitted to the Commission if in respondent's possession. The respondent acknowledges that this agreed order shall have the same effect as the suspension of her license. The respondent's license shall be relinquished, suspended, or otherwise surrendered from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2023. The respondent shall be eligible for reinstatement upon conclusion of the suspension period and must petition for reinstatement of her educator license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373214A without the necessity of a hearing. The matter of Mississippi Educator License Number 190882, Lakita Haywood, on or about December 13, 2019, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C from the Marshall County School District alleging that the respondent, Lakita Haywood, violated Standard 9.2 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, and the respondent resigned from his employment with the district. And whereas violation of Standard 9.2 are grounds for discipline of a Mississippi Educator license. Whereas the respondent, Lakita Haywood, has consented to enter into an agreed order placing her educator license on probation without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the Commission. The respondent is violating Standard 9.2 during the 2019-2020 school year. The violation resulted in it's a termination from employment with the Marshall County School District. Upon execution of this agreed order, educator license number 190882 and all privileges belonging to said license shall immediately be placed on probation for 2 calendar years from the date of ratification by the Commission. The probationary period shall remain in effect for 2 calendar years, and any allegations or violations of state or federal law and or the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct or failure to complete a requirement of the probation during the probationary period shall automatically result in the immediate suspension of license number 190882 for a period of 1 year. If the respondent's license is suspended due to failure to comply with the above conditions of her probation, the respondent may petition for reinstatement of her educator license following conclusion of the suspension period. Such reinstatement petition shall be in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 373214A and the rules of procedure governing disciplinary proceedings of the Commission. The Commission, at its discretion, may reinstate the respondent's educator license only by a majority of all members of the Commission present at the meeting called for that purpose upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License number 221844, Kimberly Baker, on or about April 23rd, 2018, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C submitted by the Water Valley School District alleging that the respondent, Kimberly Baker, violated Standard 9 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. Whereas the respondent, Kimberly Baker, has consented to an agreed order suspending the respondent's license without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the Commission. Upon execution of this agreed order, license number 221844 and all privileges belonging to said license shall immediately be suspended for a period of 2 calendar years from the date of ratification by the Commission. It is further agreed at the respondent's own expense, complete a seminar or coursework related to ethics in the classroom from an accredited university or other reputable source satisfactory to the Commission prior to the conclusion of the suspension period stated prior. The respondent shall submit proof of attendance and successful completion of the required courses of study to the Office of Educator Misconduct prior to or contemporaneous with petition for reinstatement. The respondent may submit an application or petition for reinstatement at the conclusion of the suspension period. Such reinstatement petition shall be in accordance with Mississippi Code annotated 373214A and the rules of procedure governing disciplinary proceedings of the Commission with the necessity of hearing either before the Commission, subcommittee thereof, or a hearing officer. The educator license may only be reinstated upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation as determined either by a majority of all members of the Commission present at the meeting called for that purpose or upon the discretion of the hearing officer. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License number 250264, James Hunter Gore, on or about December 13, 2019, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C report submitted by the Marshall County School District alleging respondent James Hunter Gore violated Standard 9 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. The respondent resigned from his employment with the district, and whereas violation of Standard 9.2 are grounds for discipline of a Mississippi Educator License pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373212E. Whereas the respondent, James Hunter Gore, has consented to enter into an agreed order placing the respondent's educator license on probation without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the Commission. The respondent, James Hunter Gore, admits to violating Standard 9.2 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct during the 2019-2020 school year, said violation resulting in termination of employment with the Marshall County School District. Upon execution of this agreed order, educator license number 250264 to teach in the state of Mississippi, and all privileges belonging to said license shall immediately be placed on probation for 2 calendar years from the date of ratification by the Commission. The probationary period shall remain in effect for 2 calendar years. And any violations of state or federal law and a Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics as standards of conduct or failure to complete a requirement of the probation during the probationary period shall automatically result in the immediate suspension of educator license number 250264 for a period of 1 year. If the respondent's license is suspended due to failure to comply with the above conditions of probation, the respondent may petition for reinstatement of the respondent's educator license following conclusion of the suspension period. The commission, in its discretion, may reinstate the respondent's educator license only by a majority of all members of the commission present at the meeting called for that purpose upon the respondent showing satisfactory evidence of rehabilitation. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License number 276372, Charles Ray Westerfield, on or about October 6, 2021, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C submitted by the Kemper County School District alleging Charles Westerfield had committed a violation of Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. Whereas the respondent, Charles Westerfield, has consented to an agreed order revoking educator license number 276372 without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the commission. The respondent admits that during the 2020-2021 school year, while he was employed as an educator with the Kemper County School District, did violate Standard 4 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, including but not limited to Standard 4.2F, by soliciting, encouraging, participating, or initiating inappropriate written, verbal, electronic, physical, or romantic relationship with students. Upon execution of this agreed order, the respondent's educator license to teach in the state of Mississippi and all privileges belonging to said license shall immediately be revoked for 2 calendar years from the date of ratification by the commission. It's further agreed the respondent shall, at his own expense, complete a seminar or coursework equivalent to no less than 3 course hours related to proper and ethical student-educator relationships from a reputable source satisfactory to the commission prior to the conclusion of the revocation period stated prior. The respondent shall submit proof of attendance and successful completion of the course of study to the Office of Educator Misconduct prior to or contemporaneous with any petition for reinstatement. The respondent may petition for reinstatement of educator license following conclusion of the revocation period if eligible. The commission, in its discretion, may reinstate the respondent's license only by a majority of all members of the commission present at the meeting called for that purpose upon the respondent's satisfactory showing of evidence of rehabilitation. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License number 174762, Chandria Proctor, on or about April 12, 2022, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C submitted by the Jackson Public School District alleging that Chandria Proctor violated Standard 10 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct, and that Chandria Proctor has consented to enter an agreed order relinquishing her license without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the commission. The respondent is violating Standard 10 on or about March 25th, 2022, by resigning or otherwise breaching her contract and or abandoning her position as a licensed employee with the Jackson Public School District without first being released from contract, and that such action constitutes grounds for suspension pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373212A. That upon execution of this agreed order, the respondent's license shall be deemed to have been relinquished to teach in the state of Mississippi and all privileges belonging to said license for the stated suspension period. The respondent's license shall be relinquished, suspended, or otherwise surrendered from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. And the respondent shall be eligible for reinstatement upon conclusion of the suspension period and must petition for reinstatement of her license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373214A without the necessity of a hearing. Last one. In the matter of Mississippi Educator License Number 242038, Sherry Shack, on or about November 18th, 2021, the Office of Educator Misconduct received an Appendix C submitted by the Jackson Public School District alleging that Sherry Shack violated Standard 10 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct. Whereas the respondent, Sherry Shack, has consented to enter an agreed order relinquishing educator's license without the necessity of a disciplinary hearing before the commission. Respondent is violating Standard 10 of the Mississippi Educator Code of Ethics and Standards of Conduct on or about October 13, 2021, by resigning or otherwise breaching her contract and or abandoning her position as a licensed employee with the Jackson Public School District without first being released from contract, and that such action constitutes grounds for suspension of a teacher or administrator license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373212A. And that upon execution of this agreed order, license shall be deemed to have been relinquished or otherwise surrendered to teach in the state of Mississippi, and all privileges belonging to said license for the state of suspension period. Respondent acknowledges that this agreed order shall have the same effect as the suspension of her educator's license. The license shall be relinquished, suspended, or otherwise surrendered from July 1st, 2022 through June 30th, 2023. The respondent shall be eligible for reinstatement upon conclusion of the suspension period and must petition for reinstatement of respondent's license pursuant to Mississippi Code annotated 373214A without the necessity of a hearing. That concludes the agreed orders. The Office of Educator Misconduct requests that the commission consider these agreed orders for ratification and approval.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. And as always, that is a bit lengthy, but it is.
Yes,
Lengthy.
it is.
Having those hearings individually, that's a lot of work and a lot of reading at this time, but that takes a lot off the commission overall, so we appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so with that, we'll entertain a motion for approval. Take under advisement. Please identify yourself for the record.
Mary Hill Taylor, a motion for approval.
Thank you, ma'am. Need a second?
Teresa Poole, second.
Thank you, ma'am. Any discussion? We'll move for a vote. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. All right, moving on to item number 12, adjournment. Appreciate everybody today. Appreciate your time. Appreciate what everybody does across all the departments and those who volunteer on the committees as well. So thank you for your time. Hope everybody has a great afternoon. All right, with that, we'll entertain a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn, John Howard.
Thanks, sir. We need a second.
Second, William Hamilton.
Thank you, sir. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you all. Have a great day.